Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Jordan and this is the beginning of a little podcast, if you like. Not exactly sure what I'm going to call this just yet. Something I've decided I want to do now, as my interest, if you like, in politics is growing more and more, and my concern, if you like. For a bit of context, I'm 21 years old, I live in Surrey, England, and I am currently a Reform UK voter, and that's pretty much all there is to know, really. I'm pro-Brexit and pro, getting deportations, reducing migration, things like that, basically. So, today's topic, basically, let's get right into it, is covering the drama, if you will, of Reform UK MP James McMurdock being suspended. This came to light on the 5th of July, or at least that's when Reforms, or at least from Lee Anderson's Twitter account, posted it 1 p.m. on the 5th of July. The Reform statement reads, Statement 5th of July 2025, I have today received a call from James McMurdock, who has advised me as Chief Whip that he has recovered the party whip for himself pending the outcome of an investigation into allegations that are likely to be published by a national newspaper. The allegations relate to business property during the pandemic and before he became an MP. At Reform UK, we take these matters very seriously, and James has agreed to cooperate in full with any investigation. We will not be commenting further at this moment. Lee Anderson MP, Chief Whip, Reform UK. So that was a Reform statement made. For me now, it is the 6th, so it's the following day. Early hours of the morning, 6:20 is the time I'm recording this, so yes, a little bit later on. Didn't see this, to be honest, in the afternoon yesterday, not till the late evening last night, and now deciding to record my own opinion on the matter, as I'm getting bored of writing about 500 tweets over and over due to the character limit, so I find this an easier way to express my viewpoint. So the main thing that's come of this is completely unsurprising. Mostly Labour supporters, left-leaning individuals, whether they're Green or whatever they are. Not necessarily all of them. You've got Tories as well. Even people on the right who are close to Reform or were Reform. Basically criticising Reform, saying, they can't hold on to their MPs, they've only got 5 of them. And in a way, 5 of them, it makes it look worse. Obviously having Rupert Lowe step down, leave, be removed from the party for basically disagreements with Farage on policy, for not, if you like, taking things to a more extreme, which I don't necessarily disagree with. I find myself often agreeing with Rupert, but not necessarily on everything, and similarly Farage not on everything. I do, however, think Farage is a bit more of the voice of reason, and is a bit more realistic in what is and can be done in a short period of time, or at least at the beginning. But that's a bit of a tangent anyway. But yeah, so we've obviously got Rupert that left some time ago, / removed, etc. And now we've got James McMurdock temporarily suspending himself, or asking to be suspended, because of these investigations. Now, James McMurdock did make a statement himself on Twitter, perhaps elsewhere as well, but I'm not yet. Well, I haven't looked elsewhere. Twitter or X is only really the platform I use personally to see what individuals are posting. So in regards to James McMurdock, he posted and has pinned it on his profile. Statement from James McMurdock. Thursday evening I received a phone call from a journalist who followed an extremely aggressive and clumsy line of questioning where he confessed assets, profit, and turnover. He confirmed that the phone call was off the record, and I advised him to please be careful with the details and consult a technically qualified person. Despite his confirmation that this call was off the record, he made public reference to it. Yesterday, quotes Friday, lunchtime, I received an email from the same journalist asking me to provide detailed information relating to the businesses that ceased trading some years ago. The deadline to provide that information was 6 p.m. the same day. I confirmed to the journalist that all my business dealings had always been conducted fully within the law and in compliance with all regulations, and that had been appropriately qualified professionals had reviewed all activity confirming the same. He then put, facts, my business dealings have been reviewed by ICAEW, qualified professionals. Absolute compliance was confirmed. My register of interest was completed with the support of IPSA as a precautionary measure, and for the protection of Reform UK, I've asked to have the whip suspended temporarily. So, as I said earlier, James Murdock basically asking to be suspended for the protection of Reform UK, although he gave the facts above, or his versions of the facts, obviously to be confirmed by this investigation, that he basically implies he's not guilty, this will come of nothing, but to be professional, to be transparent, which is apparently a bad quality, according to Labour and, anyone that's basically making more of this than it is, and yeah, being completely transparent with it, and he implies that this will lead to nothing, and sooner rather than later, he'll be unsuspended, and we'll be back at the 4 MPs that we have, or Reform have. So, really, is it anything to be worried about? I'd completely dismiss that it is. Rupert was a shame, but I'm not. I think nothing of this. I don't think anything comes of this. I admit it's not a great thing to happen still, when you have accusations and investigations against anyone in your party. It's not a great thing, and it's not a particularly good thing to happen when you are such a small party, because I've seen accounts saying, Reform have lost 40% of their MPs, which is not a percentage that really tells the whole story. It's been worded in a way to deceive intentionally. They could have just said 2 of 5, which is still not good by any stretch of the imagination, but it's deceitful. As where you've got Labour, who, if you want to say it deceitfully, have lost 150% more MPs, either through suspension or them stepping down, than Reform. So if you want to twist the narrative, it's pretty easy to do. Which is, well, then again, this is mostly taking place on X, Twitter, so what do you really expect? When I do post, I do try my best to not be biased and say things in a way that are clear. Even my thoughts in a way that are clear. I haven't given you my version of events. I haven't given you my version of these 2 statements from Reform and James Murdock. I have read them out to you on my computer word for word. So there you are. They are the facts. So yeah, going back again, it's not a big concern. You see, most recently, Labour have had, again, people step down. There's the talk of the new party being formed, co-run by Corbyn. So the same divisions, the left were going on about from Reform. Reform were already crumbling, Reform were already dividing. You've obviously now got Advance UK being run by Ben Habib. You're now having the exact same thing happen for similar reasons on the opposing side. People aren't happy with, the Palestine Action being regarded as a terrorist group, by the Labour government, which in my view is one of the few good things they've actually done since gaining power. But yeah, regardless of that, you've now got the likes of a new party, which are basically coming about the same sort of way Reform did, sick to death of Labour, Tory, Labour, Tory, Labour, Tory, doing the same shit over and over, basically. And now you've got the left Reform, if you like, obviously with completely different ideologies, manifesto, all the rest of it, although the party doesn't technically exist yet, don't know the name of it, etc. I'm sure it won't be too vastly different to Labour in many ways, but I'm sure they will have obviously differing views on many things as well, for obvious reasons. That's why it's being started. But it's a good thing all in all, for the right, for the Reform voters, even for the Advance UK voters. It's going to divide the Labour vote, probably not to the same extent, but it will divide them, which is obviously good for the next election. I think Labour will lose a lot of votes anyway, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of time to go, isn't there? You know, we're only just about a year in, so there's still plenty of time. Plenty of things can happen, good and bad, to all parties. So you never know. We could, in a month, 2 months' time, it may not even be Keir. So we'll just have to wait and see, really. But I think I'll wrap it up there. It was only a short introduction, really, on the current ongoings with reform, the MP's James McMurdock. And, yeah, well, I'll update you all when I can. Thank you for listening.